Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Self-care for the win. I also might trial this episode. You're going to see by the time you listen to it, because you will obviously see the title. We might call it Self-Care as a Must. I don't know. A must to me sounds a little bit forceful, if anything. And, you know, God damn it. We push ourselves so hard as women and beat ourselves up and we don't go into places. How about we just call that a win? Self-care for the win. So before we go into a conversation of self-care, I want to talk about what self-care is and what self-care isn't. Okay, let's talk about first what self-care isn't. Self-care isn't the occasional spa day. Self-care isn't, now this is my definition, okay? This is my definition. And I think things do get a little bit blurry at times too. Self-care is not getting your hair done, your nails, pedicure, lashes, waxing. Like, you know, to me, sister, these are just normal things we do as women. Okay, kind of maintenance, if you will. Self-care is not necessarily your workouts or a yoga class. Like, to me, those are just normal things that need to be part, or if you choose them to be part of your regular day, right? Of caring for yourself, of just like, you know, exercise and food and, you know, how you care for yourself, your physical appearance, or, you know, all those pieces, right? The things that make you kind of feel really good about yourself. Self-care is not like a girls' night out, or a girls' weekend. Okay, so to me, self-care isn't any of those things. Self-care is not like retail therapy, going and blowing a bunch of money on clothes, either because you want to or you feel good, or if it's, you know, something that's not done in a healthy way to kind of escape. Like, self-care is not binging on Netflix. Like, to me, self-care is daily practices that you do that help you to be emotionally, mentally, physically cared for, where you do it solely for you. Now, when you care for yourself, of course people in your life are going to reap the benefits, right? Because you're a better you, so you're better in all the roles that you play in your life. Mother, wife, partner, you know, businesswoman, sister, daughter, friend, all those things. But self-care to me looks like things like this. It is the daily habits you have in your morning, in your evening, and that you may have throughout the day. Okay, so what are some good examples of self-care? Well, self-care can look like this. It can look like meditation. It can look like journaling. It can be reading and studying something. It can be affirmations. It can be something inspirational that you read, right? Something spiritual. Self-care can be maybe something extra that you do for like extra water that you drink. Self-care can be a daily yoga practice. Like, it can be taking a bath before bed, your evening routines. It can be breathing, taking deep breaths. It can be, you know, writing something that you might, well, actually, no, I'm not going to say that's self-care at all. I'm just going to say that you share on Facebook. That's not. But self-care are those things that really, and again, most likely you're going to be a morning routine, maybe throughout the day, maybe evening, but for sure a morning routine. They are the things that are necessary for you to just be able to have a foundation upon which to start your day and to be the best you. Like, that's it. And self-care happens, by the way, without guilt. Okay, no, this is a process, okay? Without guilt, without shame, without feeling badly in any kind of way. Self-care is something that you simply choose to make a priority for yourself, okay? So let's talk about a lot of the obstacles that come up with self-care, okay? And I know that some of these might already be coming to your mind right away. And there is something really cool that I just had this beautiful inspiration about as soon as I got up this morning, which I will share with you at the end of this podcast. Okay, side note as well too. If you're not in the More Club yet, have you heard of the More Club? It is simply I'm calling it the after party to the Women Wanting More podcast, where I share 3 bonus episodes every single month, very different from what I do here on the podcast. I also have guest interviews with powerful female leaders. I do a mindset training every single month, video mindset training, recommended reading lists. There's shout outs on the podcast. There's discounts for coaching programs with me, like all sorts of amazing stuff that's inside the More Club. And it just simply starts at, I'm not even kidding you, $2 a month. Okay, it's $2, $5, or $10 a month. That's it. That you get to get all these cool benefits, support the podcast and the movement, and really help me with my vision, which is to help more women to create more love within their lives and to really create a life of more, which is the life that they really, truly do desire. Because I strongly feel that when we show up better for ourselves and better for everybody in our life, that there will be more love in this world, period. So to be able to join the More Club, go to patreon.com/womenwantingmore. So patreon.com/womenwantingmore. Patreon.com/womenwantingmore. Okay. I'm going to actually I haven't done show notes for a really long period of time, and then we'll come back to this topic here. So I'm going to actually put the link in the show notes. Okay. So you've got it. So if you're listening on your phone, which most of you do, you can click on the show notes, or there'll be some kind of notes section, depending on whatever device that you're listening from. And there'll be a clickable link right there. Okay. So it's kind of easy peasy for you. So coming back to self-care then. The obstacles to self-care often look like this. And again, these might be ones that you've already been thinking. I don't have time. I have young children, or maybe I have a baby or an infant. And maybe just whatever stage that your kids might be in your life, or whatever thing is happening in your life, I'm too busy. Okay, kind of back to the not enough time. And, really, if we take a look underneath any of these things, it really comes from a feeling of not feeling deserving or worthy of it. And we'll take a look at others, right? We'll champion other women and other men and go, oh, good for you, you're doing this thing. Good for you, you're meditating. That's amazing kind of thing. And often we'll really encourage others to do it, but then we're not doing it ourselves. And here's a piece which I won't get into deeply about it, but I think it is really worth noting, okay? Because pretty much all of us, right, are dealing with some kind of, wounds and stuff, and maybe even traumas. I always love about people that I've read that talk about trauma like big T and little t trauma, right? Big T, things like been abused in any kind of way, neglected, maybe car accidents, a death at an early age, big T traumas. Maybe there was alcoholism in the house or some kind of addictions. Those are big T kind of traumas, right? And then there's little T traumas. There's things where you were bullied. There are, times where your parents just weren't emotionally available for you, or maybe were too much there, kind of over parented or over, smothered you and didn't really hear you. And so we all deal with that stuff. It's not that our mom and our dad were good or bad, or it's none of those things. It's just man, they did their best based on how they were raised and what they knew to be true. And you know what? We're going to do the same for our kids too. And because we're doing our best. It's for me, it's not even oh God, I hope I don't screw up my kids. No, it's not about screwing up your kids. It's understanding that this is part of the journey. That we're able to have these experiences happen to us. I mean, unless we have these incredibly consciously aware parents, which is really who is that? Where is that from, right? Because again, we're all doing our best. But it's our journey to be able to awaken to these things and heal through it. And so what happens is that if we didn't have what we needed as children from our parents, which again, most of us don't, because they're all doing their best. Parents were working lots of jobs. Maybe you're raised with a single parent. Maybe just that, your parents just didn't know how to, or they had you really young, or whatever the reasons why. Pointing the finger and blaming is going to get you nowhere. Believe me, I did that for a long, long time. Until I didn't. Until I just simply came to the point of acceptance, saying like, oh, that was the best my mom and dad could do. Not bad parents, but that was just like their best. And so, but yet we are still that little child inside of us that did not get what we needed. So one of the ways we start to go back and, in a way, like what's often referred to as reparenting ourselves, so that we're not still acting like little children with these patterns that are kind of drugged within us subconsciously from the ages of birth to 7. And we start to get released from that and free from those patterns. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? The ones that involve you being angry or fearful or anxious, or you're being abandoned, or people are going to hurt you. Like all those things just feel like they're ingrained, that you feel like you can't escape. And if you look back on the tape of your life, it's just a circular pattern. It's just showing up in different ways, right? Whether it's showing up inside relationships or with the way you communicate with friends, or, jobs and businesses that you've been in. It's just the way for us to get out of that is to begin to care for ourselves in the way that our parents weren't able to. And one of the ways that we care for ourselves is, guess what? SelfCare. We eventually got there. Took a little bit of a path to get to this place, but this is it. This is self-care. This is you committing and showing up for yourself. And, self-care can also be something that you might kind of take a look and say, okay, now I got the time. I'm getting up at, 5:45. I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes. I'm going to do a 10-minute yoga practice. I'm going to journal. It's like beginning to end. Maybe it's 20 minutes, maybe 25. And I'm going to do it from 5:45 to 6:15. I'll give myself a little bit of a buffer. I'll give myself 30 minutes, right? Well, the thing is it's got nothing to do with scheduling. It's got nothing to do with you thinking you have the time or you don't. Doesn't matter what age that your kids are. Here's where, and although those things can definitely be obstacles, I don't want to say that those aren't valid, but here's where the rubber meets the road. Your ego, that piece of us that were created by around the age of 7-ish or so, that wanted to now protect us and keep us safe, right? The one that talks about scarcity, the voice that tells you that you're not enough, that you're not doing enough, don't try, you're a failure, all the negative self-talk. That's the ego piece. That again is also doing its best, just trying to keep us safe. But what happens when we begin to care for ourselves is the voice of ego starts to be not as strong anymore, as we begin to move into a better version of ourselves. And ego is gonna have a tantrum at times. So these are the feelings, by the way, when you might be like, oh God, I just really don't feel like doing. Now, yes, it can also be like I've talked about in past episodes, that you don't have a strong enough why for it. But sometimes the why is just like, I just need to care for myself now. I can't keep running myself into the ground. I can't depend on other people to give me the things that I need. I need to give it to me. I can't expect others to love me in the way that I need to be loved if I can't love me the way that I need to be loved. Which also allows me to love the way that others need to be loved. You get it? It's like it all starts from us. We're like the center, and then everything else comes outside of that. It doesn't come outside in, it comes from inside out. This is the same way we are in practice as chiropractors that we would talk about. This is where truly healing comes from is the inside out, not outside in. You can take, pills and drugs and do things on the outside and somehow think that's going to fix it, but really healing happens from the inside out. Physically, emotionally, it's no different. Spiritually, it's no different. Mentally, it's no different. Inside out. So that means that we have to begin to care for ourselves. The same way that we care for others, the same way we care for our children. We're caring for that little one. And I know this might seem like a little out there, a little woo-woo, but you know what? I used to think so too about a year ago. And then I just started to begin open to hearing the conversation and seeing more books that I was getting pointed to and more people that I was learning about and more things that were beginning to click into place to go, right. There were things that I never got from my parents, specifically my mom. Again, doesn't make her that she's bad, right? Now my mom is 80, turning 81 this year, significant dementia. I lost my dad about 6 months ago. My mom just, she never knew life without my father. I don't know how much longer my mom's going to really be around. I don't know. And so I've made peace with it. It took a long period of time, because I'm telling you, if I had these tools that I'm talking to you about right now, Jesus, I could have saved a whole lot of stress and anger and aggravation, but that's okay. It was part of my path to go through all this stuff so I can share this with you right now. So my purpose in sharing this, my purpose of Women Wanting More podcast and movement overall is for me to be able to share these stories so that there's something that you, hopefully is my intention, will hear for this in you, that you can maybe have these like moments where you go, oh, these are things that I can do, or this is who I can become, or I don't need to be stuck in those patterns. So although if I was like hearing this at my 30s, right now as I'm 50, like as in my 30s, could that save a whole lot of time and stuff? Yeah. And it doesn't matter. It allowed me to share this with you. And if that's you where you are in your life right now, regardless of age that you're at or whatever your life situation, it doesn't matter. It's all happened as it needs to. But we got to begin caring for ourselves from the inside out, and that begins with self-care. And so here's my more tip for you today. And so here's the inspiration I want to share with you that came to me this morning when I jumped out of bed. I literally woke up and said, again, this is when I know it's inspiration, right? I don't know if you've had these moments before too, where something just comes through you. It was just like, ooh, and it really felt right. And I kept thinking about it. In my meditation, I'm just kind of like, no, focus back on my mantra, my breath, because I'm like thinking about it, right? Trying to just like be very, very present. So what came through to me was this. I'm going to be creating, I don't know what it's called yet, okay? But I'm creating a 7-day, a free Facebook group, 7-day self-care challenge, okay? I don't really like the word challenge because, again, it feels like it's like a push. Like I gotta push myself to meditate. I gotta make myself do this. That's not where caring comes from, right? There's a flow. We want to tap into that feminine energy of us of just allowing these things to unfold and knowing that as women specifically, we need to be cared for. And although we can have others in our life that do that for us and are a piece of it, we need to do it for ourselves, regardless of everything else that's happening with us and for us in life right now. And so the 7-day, again, for now we're calling it 7-day self-care challenge, right? Short and sweet, 7 days, where you will be in a community of women that are like you. I'm telling you, this is a challenge for a lot of women. So you are not alone, okay? So this is a way for you to have support of other women that are also wanting to care for themselves and to have a little bit of the accountability factor. And I will have, a training or two or a couple different trainings, probably like a daily post about something just to keep you engaged. And then an opportunity to kind of continue at the end of that. So here's what you need to do, okay? Because I haven't even set this up. Like you were literally just at the cusp of this inspiration. So all you need to do is either email me, drkarenosburn@gmail.com. So drkarenosburn@gmail.com, or text me 250-589-4811, 250-589-4811, with just one word, self-care, okay? I will respond back to you. I will have this Facebook group ready for you a little bit later today where you can join, and we're going to be starting within the next week. Okay, so isn't it cool? We're 2 days from Valentine's Day as this episode comes out. And although that's a lot about who we love in our lives and celebrating that, and that's lovely and beautiful, it's time that we begin to love ourselves. And it begins with self-care and daily practices that you can do, simple ones, okay? And then when you come into the Facebook group, so just again, either text me or email me, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, or text 250-589-4811, and simply just with the one word, self-care, okay? And then I will send you a link for the Facebook group. You will go in and see your instructions. This will not be a ton of time, okay? This is simply an accountability group, a support group, to have a community of women that are like you, that are wanting to also care for themselves, okay? And I would love to see you inside of this group. Really, really excited about this. This really feels good. This feels right. So finishing up one more thing as well too, sister. If you would like to apply for one of the 3 spots I've opened right now for one-on-one coaching because I just opened that up then recently. You can also email or text and say, I'd like to apply for this one-on-one coaching spots. Okay. And that's it. Easy peasy. And I'll send you an application from there. But for sure, I really, really would love to see all of you inside the what am I calling it? I'm sorry. SelfCare 7-Day Challenge. We're just going to call it that. SelfCare 7-Day Challenge. And we will start from there. Okay, sister. Love and appreciate you. I'll talk to you in the next episode. A life of more really is one step away from you caring for yourself every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.